Hello everyone. Yes, it's another big Trails Day. My last one was exactly a year ago for Trails Through Daybreak II. You may remember it if you're into Trails games and like watching my videos. Today's a big one. This is going to be a long video because I have a lot to talk about and a lot to show you. The assistant today is, of course, Mishy. Thank you for looking after the microphone. Trails Beyond the Horizon. The 13th instalment in the long-running Trails series. Before we start, a big thank you, as always, to NISA America for sending over this limited edition. As you can see from the sticker for hybrid device, that means there's a Switch copy inside. Of course, I wouldn't be able to talk about the game today unless I had earlier access, which I did because they kindly sent me a PS5 code. So you will be able to enjoy clips from my recorded footage on the PlayStation 5. So today I will do what I always do, and that is combine the unboxing with showing you some footage and talking about a variety of topics and issues that caught my interest. Shall we start, Mishy? Good. Cheese knife to the rescue. So assuming there's a soundtrack inside, I will of course use some of the background music for giving you a taste of the music. I've always enjoyed the Falcom soundtracks, and I know many of you do too. I hope this is not putting the cat amongst the pigeons, but any votes for favourite soundtrack you have? Let me know. So here's the box. As always, good and sturdy. Where would I be if I couldn't comment on the cardboard quality? I've done so for many years and I'll continue doing so. So the box is already styled quite nicely according to how the game is designed or structured. On the front we have the two main protagonists, Van and Agnes. From Arkwright Solutions, we are the third game into the story arc set in the Calvert region. So once again, Arkwright Solutions with Van and Agnes and all the rest of them is centre stage. They occupy a large part of the game, but not all of it. We already had some side arcs. You will remember those in Daybreak II. And here we see the two crucial side arcs featuring my boy Rean and Kevin Graham, who comes from all the way back in the Liberal arc, third game, Trails in Sky, third chapter. And on this side panel we have a close-up of Van and Agnes. The back cover, the cast. The cast in this game is huge, humongous. There is no way, absolutely no way, anyone could find their way through these story arcs and all these characters unless you've already played previous Trails games. Now, I'm the last person to be a gatekeeper, but I think it's been by now pretty much accepted across social media and etc. conversations that jumping into Trails at this late stage is just not going to work. It would only cause frustration and disappointment. There really is no point. Remember that we only have one more game to go. Falcom have said quite clearly so far that we're very close to the finale. The Trails story arcs are 90% finished. So it sounds like there will be just one more game. Will they split it across maybe two, or just have one very long one? I don't know, but the end is in sight, and it's probably not that far away. I'm thinking I might sit here next year already talking about the final game. That thought is kind of a bit discombobulating, wouldn't you say? But back to Beyond the Horizon and its astonishing new story direction. To the stars and beyond. So, as I said, Daybreak 2 is now already a year ago. And since we all play a lot of games, it's quite possible that some of the detail may have slipped our memory banks. It certainly happens with me these days, and I need refreshers. Are there any in the game? Yes. And the way they've done it, every time characters appear, join the scene, there are conversations. They start talking about when they last met, what happened then, remind themselves of the shared experiences they had. So that's a good way of, having your memory jogged. But it all means it takes a while for things to get going. That is, of course, the price you pay for such a long-running series with so many story strands throughout. But isn't that one of the reasons why we love Trails? So, if you want a different kind of refresher, they have put up a video, and that's a story recap trailer for Trails Beyond the Horizon. As usual with any relevant information, I put the info and links in the description below the video. You know how to find that, don't you? There's this tiny little more ... and you click on that and then you get the whole thing unscrolling. However, there is a warning here that the trailer includes major spoilers for Trails Through Daybreak II. If you aren't caught up, beware. That trailer is only about, I think, 5 minutes long, so it's very compressed. Grim Timekeeper. What is this? Grim? Look at the cute chibi characters on the back. I will unbox that a bit later because I first got to talk about the Grim, as in Grim Garten.
It can recreate our senses, just like the Märchen version, but the atmosphere feels quite different, doesn't it?
Exactly, Van. You're taking the words out of my mouth. That's it. Grim dark. original Mini soundtrack. Mini? I have complained about Mini before.
How could you?
So here's our music, and there we are. 8 tracks. I would expect they'll probably publish a full soundtrack a bit later. That's how it goes these days. Otherwise, you'll hear it when you play the game. A nice little cardboard sleeve. Here's the art book. That's the back cover. And the front. Visions from the beyond. What's all this beyond about anyway? Let's have a quick look at a clip to fill you in on the background setting. As always, I try to avoid spoilers, and this is really from like the opening scenes. Here you see why the game is called Beyond the Horizon. A space base? We have had rockets and satellites before in the Trails story, but here things are a different order of magnitude. I'll be talking a bit more about technology later on. Amelia Haring, the general's daughter and astronaut-to-be. Yes, satellite technology, and you know Marduk, and they're involved.
Incredible!
So that's a satellite. Whoa, it's all sparkly up there!
This is where the story begins. The prologue, which is a lengthy introduction to both the basics and advanced aspects of combat.
It's changing again!
Sure enough!
This is a complete refresher and also introduction to all the new features. And I'll be talking a bit more about those later on in this video.
Farida, Master, let's do this!
Come on!
Understood. Show me just how much you've improved this time, all right?
There are obviously spoilers in the book, so I shall tread carefully and a bit later show you some of the character art and illustration. Did I mention there are a lot of characters in this game? So here we have the Switch version of the game. As you know, I don't have a Switch 2. Generally, it would be recommended if you have a Switch 2, obviously, get that version. And from what I have heard, plays really well. Performance is great on the Switch 2, which is good to hear. I have a review and a link specifically for Switch 2 down below in the description. So this is the deluxe edition. So it comes with a mini art book and a code for the digital soundtrack download. And the mini art book gives you an overworld view, which is of course on the rather small side, being mini. Also some of the districts in Calvert that you will be visiting. And then character profiles for Van, Agnes, Rean, and Kevin Graham. So the very main protagonists. I expect there will be a few more in the full art book, and we'll check that out. So that's your deluxe edition. And we also get a very pretty steelbook. You know me and steelbooks, I can't walk past one. The inside just features some very dark artwork of the Grim Garten. Title on the back. Very nice. How are we going, Mishy? I haven't talked much about the game yet. I think Mishy's right. Now, Mishy actually features quite a bit in the game. Not only with that big song and dance routine with a sister Mishy, but also as an important character in one of the movies that you can watch in-game. You know, usually Van takes some of his friends to the cinema and they watch a movie, and that's how you advance your relationships, your connections. And one of the movies is quite the surprise. I caught my breath. I won't mention much at all, but it shows a very different side of Mishy. So this is the highly popular Mishy show, but let's take another look. Is this really Mishy? A bit of cross-bellion back history here. That ain't Mishy at all, it's his little sister, Michette. That's some personality she's got, and the way she moves is disturbingly cutesy.
Various boutiques to peruse.
We also have a clear case of sibling rivalry.
Little sister Michette is finally here to join him in the Republic.
But Mishy one-ups this by starring in a movie, and I'm obviously not disclosing the important parts of the movie here, just to give you a flavour.
It worked just like you said! I won the Z1 car model from the sweepstakes! You're the best, Mishy!
What did I tell you, Connor? You're my bestest friend in the whole wide world. I'd do anything to see you smile.
Jorda raises a question that's no doubt important to all Mishy fans. And that's the movie, Mishy and Boots. If you've seen it, I very much want to hear your thoughts on this. And we get our connection boost points from the movie. This is the connections list still quite early in the game, and you can see already the number of characters in there makes it occasionally quite a taxing choice to decide whose connection to upgrade. And I'm wondering whether Falcom are trying to show Mishy as a more complex kind of character, not just your funny, smiley, plushy little mascot. Oh no, there's a very different side to Mishy, apparently. Or did they just do it for the movie? I don't know. If you're playing the game, let me know your thoughts about Mishy and that movie. That really spooked me. Now, on to the Grim Garten. Garten. Of course you'll recognise the garden thing. We had a garden, which is just German for garden, in Daybreak. And it was sort of quite light and bright and colourful. It's a virtual world. But Van and the others could use it. They had to do certain things in there. There was obviously some important problems they had to solve there. but also really use it. Okay, let's be polite for grinding, for upskilling, for doing stuff. And the nice thing was that you could call in almost any playable character from the whole cast. It was, it was a big fun thing, really. The bright fun factor turned very dark and grim in this game. Yes, something has happened yet again to the garden. And from the colourful Märchen Garten, Märchen's just German for fairy tale, it's now a straightforward Grim Garten. Dark Grim. The garden is divided in several domains, which you need to conquer. And it starts out with a very, very dark setting, I have to say. I had to bring my flashlight to peer around there. Just kidding. But later on, you get different types of settings in the different domains. They also incorporated a little, well, it's almost like a mini board game, so you have to advance. I'll just show you, okay? You need to find grim portals via the shard search to be able to access the Grim Garten. And here we see the difference to the previous one for the Märchen Garten.
Mira deposit confirmed.
You are introduced gently here to the garden, which has a structure that corresponds to the game's story arc structure. Coming up is some highly important information for those who are going to play the game through. I have already seen some reports on social media from people who thought that they could optionally skip some parts of dungeons and were later frustrated to find they'd missed some story elements. So I'm taking the cautious approach and not skipping anything. I found that the Garten dungeon runs are in fact designed to get you to the right level to be able to tackle some of the rather tough bosses you get later in the game.
Just a little freebie from me.
Van can now use his Grendel ability from quite early on in the game, bringing that extra power needed. Finally, here is the board game that allows you to access individual dungeons and takes you to the final domain boss. Pick your treasure reward. The mystery effects are often some kind of buffing, but can also be a debuff, and with the next move you can make it through that portal into a dungeon.
Onwards!
It looks quite nice from here, but once you get deeper into the dungeon, you'll see it's pretty dark. You'll want to pull up the map to locate those devices to activate. I think I've mentioned it before, it's pretty dark in there. So that's the Grim Garten, and the only other thing I want to mention about it, that it is a bit more structured than the Märchen Garten from Daybreak, in that you are often limited to who you can take in your party. It's more prescriptive. That has to do with the quite complex structure of the story arcs and how the different groups are integrated into it. So obviously they had to keep this from getting totally confusing. so they kept it tightly organised. But that means you don't have the sort of almost complete freedom you did in Daybreak with the Märchen Garten. So how is the game organised? Basically into 3 acts. Act 1 is all Van Arkwright and his team doing a lot of 4 SPGs. Oh yes, I'll have something more to say about those in a moment. Act 2 is split into 3 different arcs. Rean Schwarzer and team, Van Arkwright and his team again, and finally Kevin Graham and his. So that is a very, very meaty middle section. The whole game is very long, I think. Well, as far as I can see, I'm a good 50 hours in, and I'm in the second act, but closing in, just starting Kevin Graham's. And obviously Act 3 will be where so much will happen and everything will come together, and I don't know yet, but I know it's just gonna be hugely exciting. Before I talk any more about the game and show you some more footage, let's check out this little box. Acrylic clock assembly instructions. Poodle Pa! How difficult can this be? There's only 3 pieces.
That rich, decadent butter cake slathered in a smooth, lustrous ganache. I hear it's even been soaked in a sweet and deliciously tart apricot jam. I'm drooling just thinking about it. Can I get a piece? Wait, no, 2 pieces?
I'll take the entire cake!
What the crap?
Hello, Van. Doesn't this cake look exceptionally yummy? I'd love to be able to take it home and share it with Noddy and Swin, but it'll probably get eaten up here, huh? What a shame.
Sir?
It's fine. You can give it to her.
Thanks! I'll take it then.
Wow, that cake Lapis had looked delicious! Can I get some too? Van?
I failed you, my empress.
It'll be all right, sir. We have a second one ready in the back. I'll go prepare it.
1 desk clock. That's pretty cool, isn't it? I think. You can fit in a battery, and then you have an actual working desk clock. It requires a bit of battery wizardry, so I'm not doing that on my own. I wait for my battery wizard to return home. But you can see how it looks. It's got an hour, a minute, and a second hand. Grim timekeeper indeed. So I'm just gonna have a quick look through the art book. 40 pages. I would call the print finish semi-matte, and I would call the paper quality quite thick, and it's good enough that the print from one side doesn't shine through onto the front that you're looking at. I've seen that in some art books and it's not pretty. With this one I would have to hold it up against a window, and even then there's only a little bit shining through, so no, this is good. So the art book starts out with the prologue that you will also get in the game. In the year 1200 and X, all that we know will come to an end. Thus predicted Claude Epstein, father of the Orbital Revolution.
Last April, we successfully recovered the octogeneses in their entirety. We heeded the warning left behind by their inventor, my great-grandfather, Professor C. Epstein. But that wasn't the only warning we heard regarding this.
Now, here's one thing I wanted to talk about concerning technology. If you've played Trails games from the very start, beginning with Trails in the Sky first chapter, you will know that augment technology back then was quite simple and straightforward, certainly in game, the way you used it. This is the augment from Trails of Cold Steel. It looks old-fashioned now compared with the Xiphophone in Daybreak and Horizon. And otherwise technology wasn't that advanced yet.
We had that Orbital radio back home, too. Never knew they made them this small, though.
Augments are mechanical devices that work by utilizing what we call orbital energy. They can produce a variety of different effects depending on what quartz you choose to install into them. Believe it or not, it's only been 50 years since augments were invented. However, nowadays, augments are an integral part of society. You'll find them in weapons, magic, airships, and countless other everyday items. This wave of technological innovation is commonly referred to as the Orbital Revolution. The lights in our homes and streets, along with the engines in our airliners, are also augments. And this is one of the fascinating things about the Trails games. They cover a relatively short time span in-game from the year 1202 until 1209 now in Horizon. It's only 7 years or so, and in that short time an awful lot happens with technology. Now that is not as improbable as it may sound if you think about our own time here on planet Earth and technological development, and how within the last 20 years we have really seen what can only be described as a revolution in terms of digital technology. So they've gone from a fairly simple orbital technology to now in Daybreak and Horizon, quite astonishing progress. Orbital technology is not just used in the smartphones, they use the Xiphophone, and of course the weapons that our characters use, but we find it in all sorts of other things like cars and motorbikes. Motorbikes feature a lot in Horizon, and there are quite a few scenes involving them, and the characters talk about the advances in orbital technology as pertaining to motorbikes. So you get that span, that progress. You follow along as the characters themselves experience all this new technology, and there are quite a few wow moments throughout the games. I just mentioned that because It's important for playing the games. It's just one aspect of many where you experience the flow of time, not just through characters growing up. You meet them first at school and then now they're adults in jobs, etc. But everything else changes too, from their phones and smart devices to the kind of food they eat and the proliferation of fancy cuisine and all that. It's a whole world. If you just jump in at a later point, you're kind of missing that continuity. Because I certainly think a lot about the passing of time at my age, obviously. I see all these things and how important they are, and to see that reflected in a game series, I'd like to think it would have an impact on the people playing the games, and that they become more aware perhaps of what change means, how quickly it can happen, how it sometimes might also backfire. There are so many topics there that are interesting to talk about. So back to the prologue. As the day of reckoning approaches, preparations are being made in the Kunlun Mountains to launch an orbital rocket into space. Okay, you see what I mean about orbital technology and how fast they've moved? Will humanity finally reach the cosmos? Will they ever come to know the truth about their world? What is it that exists beyond the horizon?
Look at Mr. Dummy floating around. Cute! Wait, hold up. This viewer count?
Ulrika, the streamer and influencer, is a new character. She is also a member of the Ouroboros Society.
Can humanity really touch the stars? I'll be keeping major tabs, so stay tuned for those deets, Ouroboros.
There is a lot of humour and wackiness scripted into this game. Ulrika is definitely pushing the envelope. We know that fascination in our world with space and the universe just as much, don't we? As the whole world tunes in to witness this historic undertaking, familiar faces gather in order to take part in the testing of a technological wonder.
Over the next few days, we will work to fix any and... So, to both our external testers and to our guests, I'd like to extend my heartfelt hope.
I'm really not sure what to think about all this.
Wait, what?
Wasn't the launch scheduled for 2 weeks from now?
It would appear the schedule was bumped up.
The time is nigh. The 8 leaves must come together as one and cut a path to the land where the heavens turn. It is after your fateful clash with the Black God that you will find your true blade.
Will the trail leading toward the heavens bring forth a new future for Zemuria, or will it herald its demise? These are important and fascinating topics. And playing them through in a game maybe attunes us more to what's going on in our own world, and to think a bit more about all the different facets involved. Then we get some key terms to help us along, like Project Startaker, which is undertaken by the Calvert Republic under the guidance of their 23rd president, Roy Graham Hart, whom we also know as the father of Agnes. The Marduk Total Security Company, ever present, ever important, a private military company that has seen rapid growth in recent years. And the Grim Garten, once the world's first fully immersive virtual reality service known as the Märchen Garten. A recent hijacking has resulted in the altering of its appearance and capabilities. And the one thing I've noticed, because I've gone back to Daybreak II just to refresh my memory a bit before, talking about Beyond the Horizon here. And I was astonished because I'd quickly become so used to the combat and the enemies in Beyond the Horizon that I had almost forgotten how different it is in Daybreak and the Märchen Garten. Now, when I walk around the Märchen Garten, I feel like, I can saunter about and there's just a few enemies. You can see them from afar. You can work out whether to run around them or engage them. It just all felt a bit more laid back. Hello, we're here. Nobody home? No enemies attacking us straight out of the portal. We have vistas and can run around and figure out the lie of the land. It's eerie. I've only just spotted the first enemy. This is a holiday dungeon compared with the Grim Garten. I like the enemy designs. I am, however, probably a bit over-leveled and over-equipped for this particular dungeon. I think that enemies in the Grim Garten are far more active and programmed to throw a variety of attacks and tactics at you. All round faster, more exciting, more challenging, I think, the Grim Garten.
Marduk's technology is certainly impressive.
Bring them down! And it's... No more!
Easy does it.
Activating skill!
Doom! Blink! That went well.
That was absolutely perfect.
But the Grim Garten is full on. They will pile in on. The moment you step foot in one of the domains, boom, they're onto you. They target you. And they come at you from all sides, and you need to be on your toes. And some of them are pretty tough, and from early on. Then we've got a world map, the overview of the Calvard Republic, which is a bit more readable in this larger format than in the, of course, in the mini art book. All the different districts you'll be visiting, and then the character artwork, with Van Arkride, Agnès Claudel, 3 others you will remember, Elaine Auclair. A lot of people are very, very fond of Elaine, and with good reason. I mean, all the characters are interesting, really, but the ones that are a bit more prominent and we know more about them and they're in more scenes and you have them in combat, etc., you just grow closer to them. And you will, of course, have noticed that on the clock here, Van is surrounded by his 2 important female friends. Agnès on the left, and Elaine from the Bracer Guild on the right. Now, you see here the red-haired Aaron away. I have to say, I do like using him in battle. He's a really good all-round attacker, I think.
Damn good breeze this morning.
Aaron's dance routine is very much like his fluidity in combat. One of Aaron's crafts. I'm using one of the new shard commands for buffing. This monster is tougher than I had expected. Also using as many chains as I can, but the blighter calls allies. Time to call out Aaron's big S-craft.
Pierce, break, howl, dance of romance in the 4 feet.
Still not enough. I need to debuff the monster further. One more mighty S-craft and the Abyss is finally defeated. And he's a dog person too. I won't comment on his other proclivities. Nobody's perfect. Here we have 4 important characters. Risette, of course. And we learn a bit more about Risette, her background, her problems, etc. in this game. I just had a scene with her last night, and it was really quite sort of low-key but emotional. Yeah. Judith Lanster. You gotta love Judith. She's just in so many funny scenes. Let's just have a quick look.
Oh, dibs on going.
Judith?
What? Nina, what are you talking about? Oh, crap! The Golden Requiem Fan Appreciation Event! I am so sorry. I'll be done by this afternoon, so I'll catch up with you then. Good luck, you guys!
She constantly has to apologise. And then, of course, she's a movie star, and she's got her own movie that you can watch in this game. While I would say that a lot of the movies are sort of a bit, not bland, but there is actually not an awful lot to see, and consequently they can sound a bit formulaic, It's just little snippets, really. But they actually went to town on the Judith Lanster movie and really showed her dominating there as the main character, and it's also quite funny.
What's a lady of the cloth doing out here all by herself? You lost, sister. Hey, you worthless sods, get over here now! Huh? Where in blazes are they?
If you're looking for your men, I just tucked them all in for a nice little dirt nap. As for you, you're going to return all the food and valuables you took from the settlement. With interest.
You ain't a sister, you're a monster! You do know I've got a hostage here, yeah? If you care about the girl's life, you'll...
Barbara! I freed the girl! Now you can kick this scumbag's ass without any distractions!
Told you to call me Miss Barbara, you little snot. Whatever. Good work, Vince. I'm about to bring the weight of your sins crashing down right into your skull. I'll give you 10 seconds to make your final confession. 10, 9, 8.
Wait! What do you say you come and work for me instead?
3, 2, 1.
What the hell happened to 7 through...
0!
Risette continues her journey of exploration to experience more of the drama of human emotions. Burgard, of course, Seaman, and another young character who I know is a big favourite with many people, Cat Salician. Once again, more insight into his character, his troubles, but also the way he's negotiating through all these issues and, trying to find a more even keel in his life. Yeah, it's really nice. If you like Cat, you will want to see what happens with him. Now we're coming to the other characters who are in the other side arcs. Rean Schwarzer. My boy Rean. Yes. I am very fond of Rean. I feel quite nostalgic about Tales of Cold Steel. Still played the first 2 games on my Vita.
What in the world?
That light means that you've successfully synchronized with your Arcus.
These things can't lay a finger on me. Oh yeah, Fie Claussell. That's my name.
I'm
really sorry.
Why are you apologizing?
So it was really, really nice seeing him back. The great thing is his team. He's got Fie Claussell. There is actually a really, really nice scene between Rean and Fie in the game. They're having a friendly sparring session. Like truly good friends, the score doesn't really matter. The soft piano music is just perfect for this scene. I'm only showing you a little bit, it's quite a long scene. I don't want to take away the full experience of seeing how their friendship evolves. Yeah, I thought that was really nice. And another big favourite, Altina Orion. Yes. Those two ladies are in there, Fie and Altina, and the other male combatant is Crow Armbrust. Now this 4-member team is formidable. I just slotted right in and I just loved playing with them, going into combat. It just feels wonderful because they're so well balanced.
Life and death ever flowing. None can impede my Tachi's course. Purge, rush! Rage! Soar! Gleam! Ashen slash!
A lot of these extermination quests proved harder than I had expected. Ouch. So I decide to bring in the big guns, and that is Crow and his rowdy throttle.
Full throttle! Let it rip! Sweet dreams. Blew the roof off the boost gauge limit!
Nice.
Push it to the limit!
Van's Crimson Leaf Blade only costs 19 craft points, but is very effective. Of course, I always upgrade the crafts as soon as I have any points to do it with. I really had a great time with that team. And of course, Toba Herschel makes a reappearance as a support member. Here is Kevin Graham, and I'm just starting out on his route, which will then finish Act 2 for me. And he's got as his support team Nadia and Swin, whom you will remember from Daybreak. And once again, I do like using them in combat. Really cool combos there. And we have Rufus Alberia. And finally, Lapis, but in a support role. So we have this theme running throughout the various teams with, what shall I call them, semi-artificial characters. And there are more character portraits of Celis and Leon, Nina Findlay, Renee Kincaid, of course, plays a very important role, Roy Gramhart, Kasim Al-Fayed, and Emilia Haring, the daughter of the general. She is quite something. And there are some scenes between her and... I won't go any further. You'll have to see it to believe it. Two more characters are Shizuna, whom you will remember, and Kurogane. Shizuna, of course, is known as the Divine Blade of Silver. And yeah, I really enjoy having her in combat as well. Shizuna using her duality craft here.
Duality!
I won't go into the Grandmaster, that's getting too close to what's happening. Jorda and EX. Quite important, and you'll be playing as or with Jorda, and that's quite interesting.
Keep it moving, Jorda!
So here we see her stealth-based S-craft.
You are me. I am you. Go ahead.
All the combat animations look great, but they're all very lengthy. It's not just S-crafts, every skill has an animation. I press the skip button most times. I really wish there was a general setting for having animations either switched on or off. A lot of JRPGs have that, so why not Trails? Simeon the Imaginator and Ulrika the Influencer. Now, I think Ulrika has caused quite an outburst on social media. Opinions are very divided about her. All I can say is very over the top. Some of her jargon just had me wiggling my ears. There were quite a few expressions I hadn't come across before. And the cast is rounded out by Latoya Hamilton and Yun Kafai. So, a very nice art book, good quality, well presented. So, I now want to talk a bit more in depth about the game. So, I'll just roll the footage with my commentary. I will indicate any points where I think there might be a more significant kind of story spoiler. Let's enjoy one of the uncomplicated side quests, one that will put a smile on your face, I think. I keep doing a shard search, R3, all the way along the platform, and wouldn't you know it, finally a clue.
Gotcha.
Oh, poor kitten. Ah, the escape artist. This is nice, I think, for Jorda, showing her softer, kinder side. I think they got the cat's posture really nice and natural there. Yes, of course, Van.
Mission complete. Or whatever.
Mira deposit confirmed.
Our bread and butter. This is how we earn a living. 4 SPGs. This and combat are the 2 cornerstones of the games. If you don't enjoy doing these requests, you'd have a hard time liking the games overall. So this is what I want to look at. Have they got it right with the notice board quests? Sometimes little mini-games are involved, like here, finding and following strange fog. I sometimes find this sort of thing a bit irritating, but you may enjoy it. Earlier in the video, I already showed you one 4 SPG quest called the Prodigal Cat. That one is a good example of a smaller request which I totally enjoyed following along and doing. Depending on your tastes, not every request will be equally interesting and enjoyable. This particular one in the Centre Marché got a little bit tedious for me. Is it just my impression, or have the 4 SPGs actually become longer and longer over time? Some of them involve a fair number of investigative steps, and while that opens up the capacity for having actual real little stories a bit more fleshed out, if it happens to not interest you very much, you're stuck with a lengthy investigation. However, happily, I actually found that most of the 4 SPGs were rather intriguing and on the whole pretty enjoyable. While running around searching for clues, we fortuitously discovered that giveaway shiny circle hidden away there in the corner that tells us we've found another portal. Allow me a nostalgic look back to Cold Steel, where requests were mostly simpler and shorter. It helps to keep the pace of the story events moving. Oops! How did this clip sneak in here?
Nothing hits the spot quite like a cold beer.
Oh, Sarah, I think you're ever popular.
How many pints has she downed already? It's not even new.
Oh, you kids are still here?
So, a similar number of quests as with later games, but lengthier quests help to contribute to what I think is an overall lengthier game. That is not a complaint, because for many people spending as much time as they can in the world of a Trails game is a great thing, and for some others it'll be a turn-off due to personal time constraints. It's a tricky and long investigation, and tempers are getting a wee bit frayed. Charming. A Spriggan's life is a tough one. Van always says he's hard-boiled. For some reason, Van's charms have not worked on this old shady loiterer. I just love how much work Falcom puts into small little cameo scenes like this. They add that extra dimension, that lived-in feel of the games. This is a request called Book Hunt, which provides a positive, affirming outcome for the clients. It can be hard to ascertain with some quests whether there might be a narrative connection or something extra later on, whereas at least some of the quests clearly have a very direct and important link to future events. For me, and this is just entirely my personal reaction as a somewhat impatient person, they could possibly have reduced the overall number of 4 SPGs a little bit. I would have been perfectly happy with a little bit less, because I was always chomping at the bit to get on with the real action. I can hear the outcry, and that's fair enough. I'm not unhappy, but I had to adjust my pace and patience a little bit.
That's all, folks!
A fair number of requests are about scams. I can think of few other topics that would make us feel like we're inhabiting a world we know and understand. One of the longer 4 SPGs was about a high-level scam, and it involved hacking and data theft, so I found that very interesting and enjoyable. The minigame here is to do bidding transactions in such a way that you will succeed in the bid. I'm not showing you any more of this particular quest because I think it has relevance down the line. This is the bathhouse quest in the old town. It's the first to have these topics, and while the story itself was actually neat, running around trying to find the people who would have a topic proved a bit of a challenge for my patience level. The theme, misinformation spread via gossip, is again very topical for our times. This is the last 4 SPG I'm showing you. This one surprised me the most because I felt a bit lukewarm about the story of a former assassin who needed tracking down. In the end, it turned out to be the story that had the biggest emotional impact on me of all the various requests. I obviously don't want to show you much of the story here at all because I'm hoping you'll experience it for yourselves.
I hope I was of assistance.
Mira deposit confirmed.
Because of decisions you need to take, it affects your law-grey chaos alignment. The question arises, is it possible to skip any of these 4 SPGs? The answer, I think, is yes. Any that aren't tied to the main story progression are, I assume, optional. But for me, of course, that won't fly because I'm desperately OCD and simply cannot walk past any kind of side quest. Completing the quests is also jolly useful, both for your finances and your skills. Also, skipping some of them means I would have missed out on really engaging stories. But the choice is definitely yours. I hope you enjoyed my little overview of 4 SPGs in Beyond the Horizon.
Wow, that obvious?
I'd be interested to hear what you think about them. Do you have a favourite one?
Let me guess. The cat gave me away. Guess I dropped one too many hints.
Recipes for home cooking build up nicely. I find the foods incredibly useful because they combine HP with a lot of buffs. The sweets section has a new feature. You can upload a blog post about a sweets dish online. That means you need to remember to actually use sweets with team members so that they get registered as having been consumed and naturally appreciated. Doing all this diligently rewards you with your gourmet rank up, and as you can see, this actually brings tremendous benefits. It's absolutely well worth doing. I'm currently on rank 11. Let me know which rank you managed to reach.
The view always changes the higher I get. I think it can be even better.
I've had a few very minor technical glitches, not worth mentioning, but this one is a curious one and I wanted to show you. This cinema should be properly indicated on the map and also listed in the fast travel menu. All you can see is the blue sub-event marker, and even when I went back later to recheck it, it was still the same. Maybe it has been fixed by now, but I don't know because I've progressed in the story and can't go back at the moment. So this is by way of saying, don't miss the cinema if you're keen on catching up with all the movies and associated collection events. There's also an issue with the map icons, at least for clumsy old me, because you can both rotate and skew the map, which is of course incredibly helpful for scouting out all the angles. I'm tracking the blue sub-event icon and it keeps moving. It keeps being rotated with the rotating map. Is the event taking place outside the bistro or inside? The location is jolly hard to pin down, and it took me a while to ferret it out. Maybe there's a simple solution to this and I'm just not seeing the forest for the trees. So please tell me if you know how to cure this. I have already mentioned that I find the combat animations quite lengthy.
Whoa! Time out!
And that having to press the skip button each time you want to skip most of the animation is a bit tiresome. A better solution would be a toggle you can switch on or off for combat animations. There is also high-speed mode, which is very useful, but I find it a bit hard on the eyes if used over longer periods.
Lift off as your Rean! You need to cap off your boost gauge. Laters, fam. Stay tuned for next time.
Grim Garten, second domain. Limited liberation secured.
I'm not hugely into mini-games, but I do love fishing, and this is a good fishing game. Here I'm practicing in the city fountain. Ha! Shard Search reveals the fishing spot. You line it up and click X to cast. You can also switch the bait at this stage. Very helpfully, it's all indicated. And once you have cast, be on your toes, because the moment the fish bites, you need to hit that button fast and then line up the rod direction. And I rather take my time over it and get it right than get a failure. And look at that, what you can find in a city fountain. The item rewards are also nice. The one issue with fishing is finding suitable spots. You don't always have access to water sides, and then actually finding a really good spot is not always guaranteed. You can see me cycling through the bait here.
This is a big one.
The other minigames are familiar: hacking of orbal locks and follow mode, which is stealth. Not a favourite with me, but sports books is new, I think. You place bets.
We'll see how things play out.
Well,
What, penguin slave labour? We better check that out. There follows a funny scene with all the ladies succumbing like ninepins to the charms, the cutesy-wootsy charms of the penguin. I suggest to Falcom that their next game should be set in the southern hemisphere, where penguins abound. I'm not sure why the casino where you can play poker and blackjack isn't listed as a mini-game, but I'm not interested in those card games and went to the cabaret instead. Aaron's conversation got a bit risque here. I guess there are reasons why this game is rated 18 in Europe and some other regions. This took quite a bit of practice. It's split-second timing.
Yeah!
Can I go on a winning streak? I reckon you need to hit the bar indicator just there.
Yeah!
The shoot hold is misleading. I only tap the X button very briefly. After several more successful hoops, my streak finally hits a bump. As far as I can tell, every time you have a successful 5 hoops, you can claim a reward.
chalk one up.
However, in the later Kevin Graham route, the conditions for rewards are not at all clear, so that would be a minor criticism from me. If you manage to figure out something, please let me know. In keeping with the grim aesthetic, we don't have Mr. Cubes anymore. We now have grim tokens, those dark purple fragments you can find abundantly in dungeons, but also occasionally in the environments of towns and countryside. These need to be decrypted for rewards. Let's decrypt.
All right, let's begin. This glimmering.
This fireworks display goes on for quite a while because I have a fair number of tokens to decrypt.
Decryption complete. What do you think?
I thought for a moment I was in a gacha game. Ha! The Epstein workshop replicates some of the functions you can also find in regular Orbital workshops, but it does offer some special items, and often well before they arrive in the regular shops. The stuff is expensive, so it's vital that apart from earning money via 4SPGs and all that jazz, you get enough Grim token rewards, because I found that some of the items can fetch a really high price if you sell them, like some of these celestial balms. You can trade your workshop points, but I found it more useful in the long run to accumulate a discount rate. Later on, with high prices, it really does make a difference. I want to check my settings before entering into a battle with those enemies in the distance. And the marvellous thing is I can now use customize, which means I can even open new slots, which previously you had to go to some outlet to get it done there. But now I can take advantage of actually acquiring a lot of Sepith during traipsing through a dungeon, and I'm simply one of those players who constantly fiddles with their augment settings. The same applies to the arts plugins. and of course also your crafts. So there's always room for a whole range of things you can tweak before going into a battle. This is one of those features that's easily overlooked. It's not as glam as one of the fancier abilities like Awakening, but it can make a lot of difference for making your traversal through a dungeon more streamlined.
Skewer him!
Need help? Do whatever you want, for all I care.
A quick look at the hollow cores. I've stuck with the original ones so far, but at one point of the story progress you are given a core called Alter Posel, and that's an interesting one. I've got several already called Alter for alternate, I think, and I didn't think they were quite as good as the original ones, so I stuck with the originals, but Posel is a bit different. The story behind it of the 4 SPG is very amusing, and I think you'll have a great time with it. It has an astonishing range of powerful attributes. The other altar cores cannot match that. And in fact, Alter Posel is so good, I decided to give it to Fie Claussell. I found it to be a great match, but of course it's always fun trying out different combinations with the team members. Let me know to whom you decided to give Alter Posel in Act 2. This is my favourite new feature for field combat. Your power is suddenly immensely multiplied. It makes it much easier to get rid of pesky mobs really fast.
Let's have a look.
However, it becomes easy to feel almost invincible, so knowing when to switch to command mode is really essential.
We need to be cautious.
Cautious? In awakening mode? Ha! Stun is a great way to enter command mode with an advantage. Rean is stranded there, so I walk him all the way round to Crow and Altina. I'm dealing with bloody hornets here, and they are lethal, so quick extermination is preferable. The quick stats you can see here, the weaknesses, are jolly useful, and you can always access more info via R3. Zone of Control, ZOC, a feature known more from tactical strategy games. ZOC for command battles, as you can see, is easy. You get 2 turns. That's nice. But ZOC in field battles is quite a different beast. Like a time-lapse, enemies move sluggishly, and you can clobber them more at your ease. A tutorial for ZOC. The advantages will be immediately obvious.
Keep your attack.
ZOC gauge is now active for 5 seconds. Gauge refilled. I hadn't realized during the tutorial that you need to watch that little gauge and keep hitting that R3 continuously. That's why I find Awakening a lot easier to use. Finally, I activate ZOC again, and immediately you can see the difference in the amount of damage you're doing. An example of how quickly you can mow through mobs with ZOC activated.
Show what you're really capable of.
But beware of complacency. Enemies can still get a nasty hit in despite ZOC. And suddenly, it's enemy advantage. And I've lost the initiative. If your awakening gauge is full, you can also use that, thus combining ZOC and awakening. And that can be a very powerful combo. This is an early dungeon and some mobs are proving quite tough already, so I decide here to use Zoc.
Gauge fully replenished.
The awakening gauge is full, so why not take advantage of it? Great, but the Zoc has run out, so I need to reactivate that. If you're playing on a difficulty above normal, I would think you really will want to take advantage of this. For me, it's more something that I do occasionally. And the game is really good at refilling your EP, Craft and S-Craft levels so you can lash out.
May your soul find rest!
Frequently and just keep the battle moving. You can get some really nice combat rhythm and pacing going with these tools at your disposal and alternating between field and command battle all the time. I found it a bit confusing at first that there are two separate commands, both called Zoc. They seem quite different to me. Blitz is a new bonus in the turn order. It's not complicated, but I find that like all the AT bonuses, it's governed by the timing of the turn order. So it's a real bonus when I can get it, but if not, I don't sweat it. Here, Fairy and Risette have a Blitz link, but silly me goes with Firebolt, which doesn't activate quick enough to take advantage of Blitz. And the next turn goes to Agnes. Here are all the AT bonuses. Very nice if you can trigger some. Here's a Blitz link between Agnes and Risette. I go with Galaxia Ray, and both Van and Risette have a Blitz support action. I'm pretty sure Van is activated because of the SCLM, those Olympic rings, which I always try to have my team members linked up with each other. Same scenario now with Elaine and Judith. I know Lohengrin is an immediate action, so that's why it works. And Van kicks in with an avenging arrow. A quick note about the EX Chain, which you will know from previous games. Like so much else in the battle system, this has been adjusted and fine-tuned, but I honestly find the steps a bit laborious. Stun, Shard Boost, SCLM, then a normal or craft attack, and you might get an EX Chain. Sometimes I remember and sometimes I just strike it lucky, like here.
We should go on the attack.
Certain arts allow me.
I'll cover you! Barry!
I'm out!
Have my aid.
This was a long and difficult fight with an invisible demon, so there was a better chance for a chain to build up. To my surprise, I must have done all right on the Blitz front. In the heat of battle, you might not notice every time you trigger a Blitz.
What is this thing's deal? Ugh! Come on, everyone. Right. If we act in unison, we can...
No.
Spooky.
Shit!
I think not!
Silence, Quay.
Rish? I mean... Yin?
The hell are you doing here?
Stranger Things. Shard commands are both very straightforward and very helpful. This is the tutorial. The commands are very similar to the brave orders you may remember from Cold Steel. The commands offered will depend on the support member in your team.
All at once.
Shark Command, activate. These 6 gens are...
One of my favorite commands is Reset's Crystal Shell, a wonderful defensive buff. A final note on shard boosts in general. There are many different uses for them, and it's fun figuring out what enhancements you can produce with them. And remember, the more you use S-crafts, the more your boost gauge will augment. It can be something as simple as one S-craft, a Dunamis driver here, a catcher, pushing the boost gauge from the regular 4 slots up to 5. This combat system is designed around boosting to the max and using your boosts constantly. Here is the Grim Garten first domain boss, a nasty blood-sucking bat. We start out with 4 boost gauge slots, and the first S-craft Van's Azure Sunray pushes it up to 5 slots. Then Dunamis driver,
Let's go, Zeros!
increases it to 6. Next, Van's Vandalize Raid S-craft gives us the 7th slot. That's as far as we go in this fight, which didn't take too long. L3 and R3. In the beginning, until I had muscle memory, I sometimes got them confused and pulled up the other one. I pull up R3 all the time with more difficult enemies. You may not have seen it much in my footage so far, because I chose it mainly to show more of the flow of combat or focusing in on specific features. But believe me, I use R3 a lot, checking and rechecking stats of enemies. This Venus Mantrap, by the way, is another nasty enemy that likes to throw out the status effect Rot.
Can you withstand this?
Countdown, Blue Gang!
Okay.
Take it away!
I have no choice! Enemy down!
It likes to go into this defensive huddle and then spew out its venom, but my attack kicked in just before that.
All according to calculation.
Always a step ahead, Nadia.
Here's a quick example of the Grendel transformation. The skills and features have been upgraded from the Daybreak version.
Well then, Van. Will you bear the nightmare or not?
I'll bear it.
What is that? It's Van's special form. Wait, but on Yes isn't.
The transformation went off without a hitch. Your strength in this form should be even higher than before.
All right, you silver spoon brat. Come and get it!
I'll back you up. I'll lend a hand.
Got you! You're screwed now!
We'll take that. Take this.
Mecha combat and technology is very much part of the main story, and again expect to see quite a few differences and updates compared with earlier games.
Skin-tight suits and we'll have a guaranteed blockbuster!
I really enjoyed the little bit I've had so far. Playing front mission certainly helps with getting to grips with these assault frames. Whatever the type of combat, the emphasis in this game is on power. HP is very high, attack damage is high, and all your skills and battle mechanics are geared towards leveraging that. The traditional recipe of stunning the enemy and thus gaining the advantage in battle is, to my mind, still the best insurance for coming out the other side, and the better for it. So that was Trails Beyond the Horizon. I hope you had a good time with all the goodies and my exposition of what I think of the game. But it's time for me to say goodbye, to hope you have a great time with Trails, whether you're just starting out at the beginning or maybe somewhere different, or you're already up to date and digging into Beyond the Horizon. Let me know where you are at. As always, thank you very much for watching. It's goodbye from Mishy and me. I hope to see you again, because there will be more trails to come. Please keep well. I'm Food for Dogs. Bye-bye.